So the internal circuitry for my 100 watt portable LED spotlight is pretty much complete. It's all running off of this sealed lead acid battery, 12 volts, 7 amp hours, which goes through this nice covered toggle switch, and it actually lights up when I turn it on, which is of course a nice feature. Not that you really need an indicator for when this thing is on, which we'll see in a moment. It's going to this, again, 12 volts in from the battery. It's a boost converter, which then turns it up to around about 32, 33 volts. I have it set in constant current limiting right now. It's pretty much maxed out at about 2.6 amps. This LED module is at full power, at least according to a datasheet that I found that is for the generic 100 watt LED modules. It's at full power around 3 amps going through it. So this isn't at full power, but I would say, based off of what I've seen, putting this thing on just a very good power supply, that it's probably about 90%, maybe 85% full brightness right now, which is, as you'll see in a moment, still very bright. The switch also supplies 12 volts to this case fan. It is not the standard 80 millimeter case fan. It is probably, I'd say, 100 millimeter, so 10 centimeter. And it draws 800 milliamps, which is rather high for a little case fan like this. It has pretty good airflow. Don't know the figure of the airflow, but I mean, it's sufficient for cooling down these two components. Here we have the little LED module with a nice little reflector and a nice little lens to roughly collimate the light, and a nice little heatsink. And this all came as, all these parts came together for 30 bucks from eBay. It was a Chinese seller, obviously, and it's actually a very nice little light in here. All of the LED dyes are very well matched. Even at very low currents, you can see them they're very evenly lit. So there's hopefully not going to be any sort of thermal runaway going on with this thing. It looks to be a pretty nice module, even though it's pretty cheap. So that just goes to show you that you never know what you're going to get from eBay for the price that you pay. Without further ado, I guess I will show you the light. If I can just get this mounted in my fingers in such a way that I can open the cover, and there you go. You see there's a very nice little light at the top of this toggle switch to indicate when this thing is turned on, because of course you need an indicator when this thing is turned on. So away from the rather boring LED light in the top of the toggle switch, here's the LED light at the front of the device. It is, again, a 100 watt LED module that I bought off of eBay. It is equivalent roughly to a 2000 watt incandescent bulb. I don't have the lumens on hand, but you could probably figure it out. They're all pretty much the same power. For a comparison of brightness, let me turn this off for a moment. This is my lamp in the corner of my room. It has two 100 watt equivalent LED bulbs, which means that it's equivalent to a 100 watt incandescent bulb. And it has two of those. I believe they're 18 watt LED modules inside of the actual bulbs themselves, so that is it's a rather powerful light. It lights up my room pretty well. I just needed some extra light in my little apartment. But comparing that to this monster, which you'll see, I'll just point it towards the lamp right here, it barely looks like that lamp is on. In fact, you can see the shadow of the lamp against the wall there, despite the actual output of the lamp itself. And even if I turn on this other 100 watt equivalent LED lamp pointed towards the same area, you'll notice that it totally washes out all light that might be coming from that 300 watt equivalent light sources over there. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm probably going to mount this onto a different heatsink. I'll probably just take one from an old computer, you know, tap it in the right places and just mount it there. That's mainly because when I'm designing the case for this thing, which I'm going to be laser cutting on the laser cutter at ZeroCraft, I want the air to be flowing across both of these things. And it'll be kind of tricky to mount the fan and design everything so that you have the air coming through this thing, which would very likely be coming out the front of the device, when it needs, you know, support to actually support the weight of the module, and having all the little vents there would be, it's iffy. So it's probably a better idea to just take this and have it with a standard heat sink. I don't have one lying around to show you, but you probably have seen them, where the air can go through sideways. Then I can mount this as well. This one doesn't need as much cooling as this, mind you, so it can be on the far side of that. And then it just vents out the side. Or I might do it venting out the back or something. I don't know yet. At some point, I'm going to post a video of this at nighttime, probably after I cut the case, because I have taken this outside at night, but it is kind of hard to have all of these little moving bits and bobs just bundled in my arms and carrying it around and pointing at places at night. Primarily because things get stuck in the fan, which is obviously not good for the things or the fan. But yeah. This is going to be the flashlight. And I was going to name it a rather obscene name, but in the light of possibly showing children this, or showing other people who may not appreciate the obscenities, I'm probably going to name it at the suggestion of my friend Robbie Laity, Soul 2 Electric Boogaloo. SOL2 Electric Boogaloo. And I might have the obscene name possibly hidden on the case somewhere. But we shall see.